Hello guys, welcome to the session on AWS by Vikalti. If you are looking for an AWS session, then you have landed at a perfect place where I'll be talking about AWS. Cloud computing has become one of the essential skills in the industry, and AWS is the most popular, broadly adopted cloud computing service. Millions of customers trust AWS, and many organizations use it at a very low cost. AWS provides on demand delivery of technology over the internet with pay as you go pricing. AWS gives more services and resources than any other cloud provider, and thus it is the leading cloud service provider in the market. You could also do an AWS certification to land in a very good job. Some of the jobs are of an AWS engineer to an AWS architect with a salary ranging from 20 to 40 LPA. So let's see on to the agenda what all we will be covering in the session. We will start off with cloud computing, why cloud computing, different types of cloud model, what is AWS, what companies use AWS, and why AWS. We also will be talking about the global infrastructure, services overview, pricing, future of AWS, the certification, and the career paths. So let's discuss the very first topic of today, that is cloud computing. Cloud computing is a virtualization based technology that helps us to build, modify, customize applications over the internet. It is an on-demand delivery of different computing service over the internet. The cloud computing service includes servers, database, networking, and software. So instead of maintaining physical data centers and servers, we can just access these physical servers online using cloud computing and pay as needed from a cloud service provider like AWS. The next topic is why cloud computing. Cloud is based on a distributed computing model. It distributes resources to users and functions quickly. Cloud computing applications are easy to maintain, and since they do not need to be installed on each user's device, it can be accessed from several locations. As a result, the cost is also reduced. The IT company need not require to set its own infrastructure and pay as per usage of its resources, and it thus reduces the cost, and thus it is used globally. Since the risks of infrastructure failure are low, server availability is high and more reliable, and thus the performance is high. Most importantly, it is highly secured. Next, it is the speed. Within a few seconds, you can access it. So let's look at the model of clouds. Basically, cloud is divided into two types of model, based on deployment and based on service. Based on deployment, we have mainly four types of cloud model, that is public, private, hybrid, and community. By the name only, you can guess the public cloud is open to all the users via the internet to store and access information. All the computing resources are managed by the cloud service provider. Private cloud is used by organizations to build and manage their own data centers. The services are limited to an organization only. Then it is a hybrid cloud type. It is a combination of both public and private cloud. It is used for greater flexibility and increased deployment and security. And last is the community type. It allows the services and systems to be accessed by some organization and a specific community only. Next, we move on to the cloud models based on service. Based on service, the models are of three types: IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. IaaS stands for Infrastructure as a Service. It provides computing infrastructure managed over the internet. It is used by network architect, and IaaS only provides the infrastructure. Some of the examples are DigitalOcean, AWS. PaaS. PaaS stands for Platform as a Service. It provides a platform for the programmers to develop, test, run, and manage applications. It is used by developers, and PaaS provides both infrastructure and platform. Examples are Google App Engine and OpenShift. Now SaaS. SaaS stands for Software as a Service. The applications are hosted by a cloud provider. We don't have to maintain any server, only we have to use it. It is used by the end users like us. And SaaS provides infrastructure, platform, and software. Some of the examples are Google Apps and Dropbox. Now let's look into the next topic, what is AWS. AWS is an Amazon subsidiary that offers on-demand cloud computing services to individuals, businesses, and the government. It was launched in 2006 when no other company has its cloud computing service, and now around 75% of the cloud computing market deciding on AWS. It offers its services on a paid subscription basis with a 12-month free trial option. It is one of the secured cloud service providers and has more functionalities. Some of the companies that use AWS or are on AWS infrastructure are Amazon, Adobe, Netflix, ESPN, Expedia. And if companies like Amazon and Netflix who are entirely dependent on the AWS infrastructure, so you can think of what the security AWS gives. So what is the advantage of using AWS or why AWS? Let's take an example. Suppose you have an application which you will make available for the people on the globe. So the first thing is to buy some servers, host the application and it's ready. After some days the application comes in more demand and the server becomes loaded. So we need to buy more servers, and as their machine one day they break down and the application is not working. To fix that, we need a maintenance team which manages the server like server upgradation, software updation, and if the server goes down, then replacing it with a new one. So to do all this stuff, it takes a lot of time. Now AWS came into the market and showcased its services, telling not to buy its server but to rent it for the time we want to use it and give them back when the services are not required. In this way, we also need not require to hire the maintenance team or to look after the servers as if they are loaded or not. All the things are maintained by AWS at a per hour billing system or per GB basis storage, which is cheap, and thus it reduces the work of the maintenance team. AWS offers 200 plus cloud services. It also has a simple billing dashboard with reports which can be viewed on a monthly basis or a service based. The AWS account can be created with a debit or a credit card. It charges Rs 2 for the validation of the card, which is refundable. With the free tier, you get 750 hours per month of compute capacity, 5 GB of storage, 750 hours per month of database, 25 GB of fast NoSQL database with scalability. Keep in mind that AWS keeps on adding more services and it also makes changes in its free tier. So the data given here is updated as of the video uploading day. It may change afterward. So for exact details, you have to visit the AWS official website. Now let's discuss the global infrastructure. AWS has 25 geographical regions and 80 availability zones. So what are regions and zones? Availability zone is a collection of 3 to 5 data centers wherein each data center consists of 2000 to 3000 servers, and 3 to 4 availability zone combines to form a region. Suppose if there is a power outage in the area and the server fails, then other services will continue to work and prevent AWS services from going down. It aids in recovery of any natural disaster and allowing customer to experience the lowest latency and the best disaster recovery possible. AWS provides 200 plus services, but we will discuss a few which are important. The first one is the compute service. Under this, it's the EC2 and Lambda. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It is a virtual machine running on the cloud which is used to launch instances. It is one of the basic and integral parts of AWS. It enables on-demand scalable computing capacity. If there is very much load on the server, then auto-scaling adds more servers and downgrades itself when not required. It is a stateful system, that is, EC2 provides different output values for same inputs by comparing the old inputs. Next is the Lambda. Lambda is a serverless compute service where the code is triggered and in response to an event occurrence. It also manages the compute resources for us. It is restricted to a few languages only. You cannot select resources like instance storage. Lambda provides the resources based on the workload. It is a stateless system, that is, Lambda gives the output based on the current input, not using any other input which was stored before. Then we have the database service, under which we will discuss RDS and DynamoDB. RDS stands for Relational Database Service. It's a database service, not a database system. It is easy to set up, operate, scale the relational database in cloud. Under RDS, we can launch 6 databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, SQL Server, Oracle, and Amazon Aurora. Next is DynamoDB. It is a NoSQL database that stores unstructured data. It is a key value in a document database. Next is the storage services. Under this, we will discuss S3 and Glacier. S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. It is the most used service. It is an object storage service that offers industry leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. Glacier is an extended version of S3 which does not give direct access to the bucket but takes a backup of S3 service. It is a low price, almost 1/10 of the price of S3. Next, we have the networking service. Under this, we will discuss CloudFront. CloudFront is a fast global content delivery network service which securely delivers data, video, application, and API to the customer globally. It works on the concept of edge location. Example: to access a website which is hosted in USA from Delhi, then the content will be delivered in the availability zone, Mumbai, and from the Mumbai zone, it will be delivered to the edge location in Delhi, and it will be stored permanently as a cookie or a cache, and from there it will be delivered to the laptop. Now, for the next time, if you want to access the same website, it will not go to the USA. Instead, it will search in the edge location Delhi. There are 54 edge locations across the globe. Then we have the security service. Under this, we will have IAM and KMS. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. It enables management and access to AWS services and resources securely. It is used to authenticate users to AWS accounts. The account we create is a root account, and they create multiple users with restricted permissions. Suppose there are 3 persons in a company: an admin, and web developer, and a data scientist. So IAM enables and give all the access to the admin. It gives only the web dashboard to the web developer and the data dashboard to the data scientist. KMS. KMS stands for Key Management Service. It creates key pair in EC2 instance and helps us to authenticate ourselves to the services we want. Last but not the least, we have the management services, and in this we will discuss CloudFormation and CloudWatch. CloudFormation is a common language for us to describe all the infrastructure resources in the cloud. Whatever things that we want to launch or configure, we specify in a JSON file and run it through the CloudFormation, and it will create architecture according to the JSON file. CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring and management services which build for developers, system operators, and IT managers. It gives the activity of AWS services and resources, reports on their health and performance. It sets up alarms and sends emails when one of the servers goes to an unhealthy state. The pricing is a per hour billing system. We have different prices depending upon the region. Reserve instance. We use this when we want to rent some servers for some month or year. We can use this, and in return we get high discounts. Spot pricing. Here we bid for a price on the server until someone else bids than the current user price. Example: assume a person bids $2 on a server and begins to use it. However, the same server is again bid for $4. Then the new bidder gets the server and the previous bidder loses its access. This technique is used when the work is not that urgent and we want to get it done at a minimum cost possible. Talking about the future of AWS, it has a fast adoption rate of 67% according to Flexera. Almost 67% of cloud users uses AWS. Its provisioning capacity is 6 times that of the server capacity of all its competitors combined. It is trustworthy and reliable. Every now and then, AWS keeps reducing the cost of the services. They keep on launching new services in all domains, recently in machine learning. The certifications. At the very first level, it is the foundation level exam, where we can have a cloud practitioner certification costing around $100. You can also take the practice exam, which costs $20. Then it's the associate level exam. In this level, it has three certifications, namely the solution architect, system ops administrator, and a developer. Each certification costs $150 and the practice exam costs $20. If you go higher, AWS provides a professional level certificate. There are two certificates under this. First is the solution architect and next is the DevOps engineer. Each costs $300 and the practice exam costs $40. AWS also provides specialty certifications like advanced networking, data analytics, database, machine learning, and security. Each costs the same price, $300, and there is no practice exam for that. The job that you can get through the certificate is of an AWS engineer, and its designation level is a junior AWS engineer whose pay scale ranges from 6 to 28 LPA, and then it's the senior engineer from 10 to 35 LPA, and after that AWS manager with 20 to 50 LPA. In another domain, it is the AWS architect with a pay scale ranging from 30 to 50 LPA, and then it's the junior solution architect with 30 to 50 LPA. As a cloud engineer, you can also get a designation level of a system admin or a data admin and the senior AWS administrator. Both pay scales ranges from 10 to 30 LPA. Last but not the least, you can have a career path in the AWS administrator with designation level as a junior cloud AWS developer with pay scale as 8 to 30 LPA, and as an AWS cloud engineer with a pay scale of 8 to 35 LPA. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed the session with me and learned something about AWS.